Before I start off, if you could just assist me with this one thing. Honorable members, especially Honorable Mates and Honorable Ang, they're concerned about the participation or the presence of SAPS brass at an ANC January 8 celebration. Now, I do understand that neither the EFF or the IFP has ever had a head of state or a deputy president in their midst. So I would just request that you elaborate on whether such participation or presence by the SAPS was lawful, whether it was operationally justified, and finally, whether it was aligned with national security obligations in line with your mandate in the Constitution.
It is in terms of the joint where all the major events are covered. I've had instances where I get a call, where I get calls from EFF in KZN, where you find that the police don't want to allow their security to enter the stadium in possession of guns. So what I'm just trying to say is that there are deployments in each and every environment. There's no way there will be a major event and there's no police coverage. It will be irresponsible from the side of the police because anything can happen there. Every life counts. Starting from the stadium, major events, the police are there.
So there was absolutely nothing untoward with SAPS being present there?
No, in the stadium, every stadium, there is an office, you call it a jock, where they sit to look after the situation. So there are those that are keeping records, and there are those that are patrolling, there are those that are directing operations inside the stadium and outside the stadium.
Thank you, General. General, the reason we are here today is obviously because of the now famous directive of the 31st of December. Section 2061 of the Constitution, I'm sure as you know, provides for the powers and functions of a member of cabinet responsible policing. And it says that member of cabinet must determine national policing policy. Now, am I correct that a national policing policy has just been released in 2025?
That's correct.
Thank you. And then section 2072, under control of services, provides that the National Commissioner must exercise control over and manage the police service in accordance with national policing policy and the directions of the cabinet member responsible for policing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So what is your understanding and what in your view would constitute policy versus control and management of the police service? Where exactly is the line drawn? Because, I mean, we're sitting here and I think it's that line that we keep coming back to. Where is the line drawn?
At this present moment, I think it must be understood in clear or in no uncertain terms that the bottom line is that the minister, as the person who must actually determine policy with the National Commissioner implementing policy, the two are interlinked in such a way that the National Commissioner reports to the minister, and the minister has got interest in what is going on in terms of the implementation of the policy. So what is happening is that the instructions that was given falls squarely and entirely within the scope of the policy of the minister. As far as I'm concerned, what the minister did, personally, I don't see anything wrong.
Thank you, General. Now, okay, so you said you didn't see anything wrong. Did the minister engage you or consult you about his decision to de-establish PKTT? So did you know beforehand, before the letter, that that is what he wanted to do?
Not at all. I wasn't even around. I was operating in the Western Cape around December. Minister was in KZN.
Okay.
And we never communicated. Even if you can check our communication, there was no communication around that time.
Thank you, General. Okay, I'm going to skip my next question because I was going to ask you about whether you thought that instruction was lawful, but you've already said that you thought that it was lawful. So General Marcel Mula, in his testimony, argues that the use of the word immediate by the minister in his directive amounted to operational interference. What is your view on this issue of immediate? But I've also been asked to ask you that, can you explain what you meant when you said immediate does not mean right now?
When you say immediately, and your letter addresses things that must happen over a period of time, it means from now. As we say immediately, the process starts now. And that process can stretch. Now, there are a number of activities that must be involved for you to be able to get to the other side where you are expected to be. But it means that it starts now, but start implementing the decision. Starting to implement the decision doesn't mean that by the 20th, shop is closed. What is important is that make sure that you start the process, and then you will end the process with a close-up report.
So did you think that when the minister said immediately in his letter, that amounted to operational interference?
I don't think it amounted to operational interference, especially the fact that it was discussed in the presence of the National Commissioner, who indicated that it does not have any query nor any objection to that.
Okay, thanks, General. So you said in a response to one of the members that you were not surprised when that directive came through from the minister. Were you surprised, though, that General Masemula asked you to implement it? Because according to your testimony, you said you were not involved in PKTT. It was just General Masemula, General Khumalo, and the KZN commissioner. So were you surprised that General Masemula asked you to work on this?
No, I can't be surprised when I get tasking from the National Commissioner, their official tasking. He can task me on anything. So I can't be surprised.
Despite the fact that you haven't had anything to do with the PKTT?
Yes, well, it came, the instruction came. I've never actually occupied or been involved in the PKTT, but now here comes the instruction that says DNC communicate to the team. So this is an instruction from the National Commissioner that must be complied with.
Now, General Sibiya, this is where I get confused. So on paragraph 28 of your testimony, you indicate that once you received that email from the Office of the National Commissioner, your office directed an email to the DCCI, General Khumalo, to develop a closing report for sign-off by the 13th of January. Did you have any discussion with General Khumalo regarding this directive to disband? If you did, what was his view? If you didn't, why not?
I didn't have any discussion with General Khumalo. What I did, same email that I received, and I wish that we get to it, because what I did, I forwarded it same time. I forwarded in the same email. You will see that it is the National Commissioner's email, then my email on top that directs now General Khumalo and say, below see the email from the National Commissioner's Office for Compliance. Please comply with the above. And due to the fact that the National Commissioner Office, they wanted mine on the 14th, and we say, you need to give it to me on the 13th so that I can see it. Then thereafter, on the 14th, when I meet the National Commissioner, I give it to him.
Okay, so you didn't speak to him about that directive, you forwarded the email. Tell me, is a closing report and the implementation plan the same thing? I'm asking this question because you asked General Khumalo to work on the closing report, then you asked Major General Rabi to work on the implementation plan. Was it two different things? Because we seem not to hear of the closeout report again in that period. Now there's a discussion of the implementation plan.
Remember that I sent the same document to General Rabi as well. And in the same document, General Rabi, who is an expert in this field, come back and say, this is how it must look like. And when General Rabi says this is how it must look like, This is how the organization works. We know, even if I were to draft it and I'm not sure about it, I will send it to General Rabi for guidance. He will prepare it and then, or General Nzima, and then they will prepare it, will then take it to the National Commissioner for approval.
So General Kumalo never came back to you then, because you then worked on Major General Rabi's document?
Yes, he never came back to me.
Now, there's this correspondence, which you discuss at length on paragraph 36, between Major General Rabi and Major General Sibola, and how ultimately you get the plan that I know it's your testimony is that you implemented the plan from the Office of the National Commissioner. So you are saying Major General Rabi gives you this document, or he first authors it. It's got the signature of the National Commissioner. Then he changes it that the National Commissioner is not the author, you are the author, sends it to Major General Sibula. In the intervening period, you see the National Commissioner, and the National Commissioner says the document must be changed. So when you get the document from Major General Sibula, you then take it that that is what the National Commissioner has approved because it comes from his office. Am I correct?
You are correct, Chair, in a sense that you must also look at the timelines and the timelines in between. General Rabi sent it on the 14th. The first time I think is 1410. Then you will see that right on top, then is General Rabi again, 15 something there. And then from there, General Rabi sent it to General Sibola on the 14th. Now from General Sibola, it says for 2 days. So which means General Sibola had to consult with the National Commissioner. General Sibola will never send a document to me that she hadn't consulted with the National Commissioner. Now, General Sibola consult with the National Commissioner. And then after that, when the National Commissioner is satisfied, let General Sibiya sign this thing is operational. General Sibola come to her office. My office and General Sibola's office, they are opposite. National Commissioner is that side. Now, General Sibola come and say to Keketsi, DNC to sign. Keketsi then says, okay, I'm waiting for the document, General. She forward the document to my office to print and sign. Now, if the National Commissioner was not in agreement, that document would not have left General Sibola's office to me. The same applies to the email that was sent by Brigadier Lotoko to my office. She will never send something like that, having not confirmed with the National Commissioner or acting National Commissioner. So which means if the National Commissioner completely was against, how can the document be cascaded further down? If you agreed, it will be. If you didn't, there's no way it can go down.
Okay, I hear you, General, but here's my problem now. It's SB6, those emails in your submission. Is it standard practice in the South African Police Service that emails are just sent with no trail? So on the emails we've got here, there's not even a hello, General, or hello, Captain Sibongile. We just literally just have from sent to. What happened to the rest of the email? Because here we see the trail, but we don't know what is being said. Maybe if you could assist me with that. And then secondly, if Major General Sibula is sending this very important instruction to your office, she doesn't write this instruction that print this out for the general to sign and send. Why would she send an email and then walk out to your office to say he must print it? Why are these emails blank, not reflecting?
That is a cause for concern. Personally, I believe the National Commissioner knew what he was doing, because there's no way that as the National Commissioner you can say, let Rabi help you. Rabi, who's in the office of the National Commissioner still, helps me craft a document That document was crafted on instruction of the National Commissioner. The same document is the one that gets sent to General Sibiya. The same documents that was discussed with the National Commissioner, the same document that gets sent to me. This is operational, let the General sign and send. Then I send. Then the next thing, I stand accused that I turned a document where the National Commissioner was supposed to sign, I turned it into my own signature and send. To me, this was a booby trap.
So, General, is it your testimony that these emails, as you have put them before us, none of them contained any instructions? It was just forward the document, the email is blank as it appears here?
The first one of Brigadier Letogo says clearly that as directed, the DNC is directed to do. DNC creditation has directed that, okay. It says, as directed, DNC requested to accordingly communicate the deactivation to the relevant team. Your office is further requested to submit a close-up report to be submitted on 14 January 2025 for NATCOM's consideration and sign off. Now, this date of the 14th is the date on which the National Commission is back on leave. And when I spoke to the National Commission, he said yes, because the minister says he wants the report by the 20th. And now we ask Rabi to assist. Rabi is assisting. General Rabi drafted the report. This report that was written is a professional written report by someone who's qualified to write work study reports, and he wrote a report that actually the National Commissioner say so. Now the National Commissioner say, I saw it and I did not really read it or browse it. I just browsed it and I read down there below, and it's not something that I read. But the National Commissioner said at the commission, he said when they asked him, did you read? Did you go through this? He said, no, I never went through it. But the bottom line is it comes from whose office? From the National Commissioner's office. All these emails that came to my office are a direct instruction of the National Commissioner. The same way the National Commissioner say, if I didn't comply with the minister's instruction, I was going to be accused of insubordination. I am here today, I say, if I didn't comply with the National Commissioner's instruction, it was going to be like, this man doesn't listen. We instructed him and he didn't do what we want. So I complied.
But General, you do appreciate that right now it's your word against the National Commissioner and Major General Sibiya, because on the final emails that you provide as evidence, there's no instruction.
I can't agree, Chair, on that, because if the National Commissioner, quite honestly speaking, does not agree, from here must go back, not backward, not any further. Here, from me, it go back. And I say, National Minister, I don't agree for the following reason, and let me engage you. Why then have it still forwarded, cascaded further down? Number one. Number two, it's confirmed and it's consistent with the fact that even starting from the meeting of the 27th, when the National Commissioner said, yes, this is just a task team. It was not meant to be a permanent structure. It was just a task team that was supposed to evolve into a murder and robbery unit. So let's go to the parliament. To parliament now, where parliamentarians are involved in. Here's the Honorable Ian Cameron was the chair on the day. The National Commissioner was there. The project manager and General Mchunu was in the meeting as well. Presented that the National Commissioner has received a directive from the minister to disband, and there has been subsequent meetings, several subsequent meetings in that regard, and that it is going to happen. We believe that the task team has achieved the purpose for which it was established, and that it can be used as a benchmark because it has been operating well, and then as a result, we are going to be transitioning into murder and robbery unit, and it shall be done in phases. Done. The next morning on the 6th, they come up with an action plan that the National Commission says it was approved by him, and the minister also partially approved in a sense that the minister says, I see that you've done what you say you're going to do. What I'm not happy about is the fact that you're saying the court docket you will still keep it, because now the court docket may take 5 to 10 years, which means we'll be still waiting. But it was partially approved. Now, true to their words, General Khumalo, as they presented, on the 28th of March, they sign a handing over the report. I didn't even know. They went and they met and they did an exchange somewhere. And then now General Sintumule's got the docket and then called me and say, I've signed for the dockets, 118 dockets. All right. Then after plus minus a month, on the 23rd of April, General Khumalo bring the last 3 dockets of Umtata, Namhlamtwa. Now it brings us to, that makes the 121 dockets. Now, we have now 121 dockets that must go to KZN, to the station where they belong, which is the murder and robbery unit. General Mkhwanazi get a call that says, General, we are bringing the dockets over to you. Say, I don't want those
General,
dockets.
I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you. I do apologize. No, I think we're clear on the sequence of events.
Before you proceed, just to hold to the Honorable Skosana wants to say something.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to find out, because I'm confused a bit now, that the answer is given to the Honorable is different from the answer which you gave me about this email, about the signature. If you remember well, when I said to you that the brigadier, you said she, the talker, all those emails, whether they are signed, and remember I asked you whether you verified that, and you said there's nothing wrong as long as it comes from the office of the National Commissioner. That was a concern, and I think what she is raising now, the answer is different of what you told us earlier. I thank you. I just wanted to say that we must have one answer when we leave here, to say, is it a tradition or is it allowed? They can issue emails irrespective, as long as they come from that, they are authentic according to what you presented earlier. Thank you.
What you said, Honorable Member, is exactly what is the case.
Yeah, but remember, I said, is it right or wrong? You said, no, it's right. But now we are not saying that.
No, I've never said it's not right. I've never said that. My statement is consistent. It's something that will never change. This is how it is.
Yeah, but now what I'm saying now, on Hansard, perhaps you missed that. But I wanted to help you on that, to say what you told her now about the emails, because she's raising the same thing, maybe differently, but the answer are not the same. He's asking the same thing which I asked about the emails.
I stand by what you repeated just now, Honorable Member, that for as long as an email comes from the National Commissioner's office, and not any Tom, Dick, and Harry, from Brigadier Letoko, whether it comes from Millicent, whether it comes from General Sibola, we know it comes from the National Commissioner. And it's not something to be questioned unless there is something that needs to be challenged or not being understood. That's when you can stand up and say, I don't understand this. But if Sibola, General Sibola writes something, it is what it is. If General Brigadier Letoko write me something, it's for me to run with it.
Okay. Thank you, General. Sorry, just as an aside, you had initially said that WhatsApps can be manipulated. Can email correspondence also be manipulated by crime intelligence?
It's doable, even if it's not crime intelligence, by any expert, any person who knows a computer, it happens.
Thanks, General. So let's leave then the email trail. You then take the letter that you were told to sign and you issue it on the 17th of January. Now that letter deals with the disbandment of the PKTT. General, I want to refer you to the South African Police Act, specifically Section 11(2)(d), that gives the power, duty, and functions of the National Commissioner. And it says the National Commissioner has obviously the power to organize and reorganize the service at national level into various components, units, or groups. Now, that is the power of the National Commissioner. Now, when you were communicating this to the relevant units, did you think that you were just following an instruction or you were overreaching perhaps because you shouldn't have the power to reorganize and organize units at national level?